how fast until you hook up with someone?
2 days, 2 days.
How long until you cook for somebody?
There gotta be a ring on my finger.
Ring on the...
Because what am I cooking for no man? Because at the end of the day, all these men are dogs and all these men cheat. So why does a man?
Are you in therapy or willing to go?
Neither.
Never been through anything?
I don't. You want me to be tragic? You want me to have some demons or something?
Keep your body clean, huh?
Fair use claim, of course. And a reminder to all of you that complaining is simply not a strategy in life.
So we have seen this going around. The Trump administration planning to exclude some professional degrees as being professions, and they're doing this on purpose. And just about all of the professions are typically female-dominated professions. But where is this coming from? The people behind all of this is the Heritage Foundation.
I have one simple question in a country where young ladies feel very free to act like this.
Yes, my father was in the house, but he was not the man he should have been to the household. So my mother had to play dual roles, even with the man sitting right there. He went to work, that's cool, but that's it. So my mother had to do 2 roles. So she always would tell me, say, look, make sure you make your own money. Do what you need to do. So if you ever in a situation you got to get out, you ain't got to worry about no dude.
That's facts.
You full of that diesel line. All right. That's enough for you two chumps. What you gonna do?
If we make a quick supposition that this is the money and power behind the Heritage Foundation represented here, and this is the girl boss movement represented here, I would simply ask, what you gon' do? Ha.
The people behind all of this is the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation are the people that are responsible for Project 2025. They can go full mask off now that Donald Trump is in office, and they are set out to implement what is going on in Project 2025. They think that harming women's professions, they think that harming women's money is how they are going to increase the birth rate, because they're going to attempt to drive women back to the home. This came out November 15th. Education policy reforms are key strategies for increasing the married birth rate. They're doing this on purpose to drive women back into the home and back to being married and pregnant.
To a certain extent, I can understand the level of urgency that Bourbon Bougie is having here, but did she think that these plans are going to go into perpetuity, that we're going to continue financing the girl bosses that were going to college and still on the other side of college, coming out of college, instead of saying, I want to act equal to a man or take the role of a man, young ladies are simply saying, I'm a girl boss and...
Don't cry, Barbie. If you stop crying, I'll get you whatever you want.
Okay, thanks. Get me a Mercedes.
That's you with that big body Benz, huh?
The fertility rate in the United States has dropped to 1.6, an all-time low, and far below the 2.1 replacement rate required to maintain steady population. Fertility rates are dropping worldwide and are proving resistant to a variety of policy efforts to reverse the trend. While no silver bullet can increase the married birth rate, you see they say married birth rate. They don't want people having kids outside of marriage. The married birth rate, developing pro-family policies is essential if Americans want to maintain their political and cultural traditions, avoid economic decline, and strengthen national defense.
What you gonna do? What's up? Oh, he done did it now. I'm going crazy. Go crazy, that shit, yeah, homie.
My only response to this is, what did you think was going to happen? Did you think that they were going to continue funding girl bosses into perpetuity so that they can thumb their nose up at men that want to be fathers and have 2-parent homes? That might be the way of the black community in America, but it's not going to be the way of the white community in America if the Heritage Foundation can help it. I mean, it's a given, right? I mean, you didn't see this coming. You can't run a country on.
While I was pregnant, I broke up with him. So when I had her, I actually didn't call him to come be a part of the birth. And I think he was a little begrudged, but that's neither here nor there. That was for me. I wanted to have that moment be sacred and special. I wanted to be able to be focused, and just be supported by my mom, my sisters, my aunts, my grandmother.
You done switched from Nike to Reebok, son.
The way they connected these dots is so crazy. If we keep people out of school, they're just going to get married and then they're going to have more kids. The fact that they think that this is going to happen is ridiculous to me, but okay.
As Mr. Z often says, what y'all thought? It's one thing to thumb your nose up at black men and say, hey, I'll have kids out of wedlock, but I want your support outside of marriage for the child, but I'm going to have all the control. It's another thing to look at the Christian movement in America and say, nah, we're good. We're going to not just have fewer kids. We're not going to be the girl boss that's going to take the place of the men that we were promised to do so. And so what do you think they're going to do? Of course, they're going to cut the funds. Funding you to be a girl boss is not getting them the families and the children that they want. So why wouldn't they?
Don't ask me for relationship advice, because my advice is either break up, get a divorce, or throw him down the stairs.
You ready to punch somebody in, huh?
Get married sooner and increase the married fertility rate. Proposals to cut subsidized student loan programs should therefore be seen as pro-fertility policies. We just had to get to that. The reason why they are doing this, the reason why many female-coded careers are being cut as far as what is professional or not, is because they need women to get pregnant. An education reform agenda to increase married birth rate and support families. To increase the married birth rates, states should adopt universal school choice. State policymakers should adopt universal education choice options to put religious and private schools on a level playing field with secular and government-run options, allowing families to choose an education for their children that matches their goals and values. Education policy reforms are key strategies for increasing the married birth rate. And these two people, Jay Green and Lindsey Burke, both supposedly have a PhD. We need to figure out where their PhD is from. It's probably Liberty University. Funding families directly and allowing them to choose learning options that are the right fit for them and align with their values. Expanding access to religious schooling increases exposure to the types of education where students are more likely to hear about concepts such as success sequence, reinforcing the importance of the success of life milestones, graduating high school, getting married, and getting a job before having children.
What's interesting is when you listen to her reading the paper, she's reading it with a sense of alarm, which many of the young ladies in the comment section are reacting to, responding to. But if you're a guy and you want to have a family, especially in the West as it is now, you're asking simple questions like, where am I going to raise my kids? Am I going to get government help, funding for raising my kids in the kind of environment, in the kind of school that I would like? Because the government wants people to have kids, especially in families, so that the government doesn't have to fund any of it. I don't understand why this is alarming. You want to do what you want to do, that's fine. But at some point, the books have to be balanced. And you got to understand, if that kid is born out of wedlock and it's the government's job to extract money from a guy to make sure that you can do whatever you want, that's one thing. But it's another thing if you're going to stand on the other side and say, I'm going to do what I want to do, and if all of it fails, the government is supposed to take care of me and give me what I want, because if I don't get that, that's oppression. You're going to get guys rewriting the book because, hey, if you're going to ask to be sponsored, you're going to have to offer more than just existence.
Can I get your name and age?
Erica Kane, and I'm definitely looking for Benjamin Franklin. I need money. I don't even need love. I just want straight. If you ain't got no money, don't holler at me. Like, seriously, I'm dead serious. Like, I want to go out. I want to shop. I want to go on you. Like, I want everything to be done on you. I don't even want to I just want to bring myself. That's the only thing that I'm bringing to the table is me.
Really?
Everything else is on you. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Period. I'm dead serious.
If this is what you're going to offer men to have kids, you better run. If all women looking for is Benjamin Franklin, better
Congress should curtail federal higher education subsidies by eliminating Grad Plus loans. Over the past 3 decades, federal higher education subsidies have increased dramatically, with spending on student loans rising by 328%. Federal subsidies now top $150 billion annually. These subsidies have also pushed up the price of college.
While you're listening to these numbers, take a few seconds and think of the question that is apropos when you hear this kind of change in what happened in higher education in terms of funding and the cost.
Federal subsidies now top $150 billion annually. These subsidies have also pushed up the price of college. Tuition and fees for in-state students attending four-year universities have nearly tripled in real terms since 1990. Since 1970, inflation-adjusted tuition rates have quintupled at both public and private colleges. Not only have federal subsidies enabled colleges to raise prices, but also, particularly in the case of loans for graduate students, they have encouraged Americans to spend years in graduate school. Historically, few Americans pursue graduate-level work. In 1900, just 6,000 people were enrolled in graduate school. We're going all the way back to 1900. That's what they just did. All right, there were 6,000 people enrolled in graduate school in the United States, and just 300 PhDs were awarded annually. Today, nearly 195,000 doctoral degrees are awarded each year. One can observe similar trends with the conferral of master's degrees, which went from about 1,500 in 1900 to more than 866,000 annually today.
So when you hear those numbers, that astronomical jump in the advanced degrees, the simple question you can ask is, well, then why aren't we competing with China in AI? What's going on here? We have all of these people getting these very expensive degrees, but what are they getting degrees in? And so if the people that are following Burge and Bougie have an issue with that, I simply ask the question, what you gonna do? Miss Burge and Bougie, the feral feminist, ma'am, the reason why they're changing up these protocols is because, quite simply put, they're not getting enough STEM graduates. They're not getting the kind of people coming out of these colleges that can compete with the future of technology. Of course, you're not going to continue funding women to get degrees in the soft arts like psychology and theology and whatever, women's studies. It doesn't really matter. We need people that are going to contribute to the technology of tomorrow. And women's studies majors just isn't it. The idea of the song Ha by Juvenile is that you thought things were going to be a certain way, huh? But then you lived, huh? And you found out that they didn't turn out like that, huh? You thought that you could be a girl boss and continue to get the help from the government, when in actuality, the point of all of this was, if you're going to be a girl boss, we're going to fund you, and then you come out and you become the kind of person that's going to build the families that's going to push America into the next century. And now they've seen that that's not really working the way that they were hoping it would. Of course, they're going to change it up. Is it right or wrong? It doesn't really matter if it's right or wrong. The girl bosses didn't go into America, get married, have kids, and move the economy forward. Not in the way that is going to be competitive with China and now India in the future. If you ask me, I say that women dropped the ball, because they were supposed to take the role of men, reform their idea of marriage, and marry down or marry across and be happy so that they can continue to have girl bosses but that are getting married and having families. But when you fund the girl bosses and they thumb their noses up at the men who are not getting funded, then the people that are running this country, the power brokers, are going to reconsider if they're putting their money on the right horse. So again, I ask, what you gonna do? Because they need STEM graduates, and that's not what you want to study, right? So compete with China or move to the side. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care, guys.